And good morning and welcome to the WSJM Morning Show. This is the video live stream. I'm Ken Lundberg. Very happy to be joined this morning by Erik Larsen from the Berrien County Veterans Services office. We were just watching, at least I was watching. I know you're just settling in, but I was just watching C-SPAN, where the U.S. House of Representatives has passed that the big, beautiful bill is what it's being called. Can you go through each line item provision that applies to veterans, please? I'm just kidding.
I was like, wait a minute, I think he's going somewhere with this. And I'm like,
where is he going?
My brains are like, okay, what?
You know, more times than not,
good.
Even the lawmakers don't know what's in the bill. They trust but verify kind of thing. Here, pull that microphone up. So yeah. Erik Larsen is from the Berrien County Veterans Services office, and he has agreed to come in and talk about the stand down and that. And so, but we always like to introduce people who are in the studio. Have you been in the WSJM studios before?
I've never been in the studio, Ken.
Have you been in this building before?
I have never been in this building.
Wow, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I have been to your office, and Maureen has thrown frisbees at me.
Well, she can be like that sometimes.
Has she gotten into the frisbee golf? Because I know she was giving out your office was giving out frisbees, I think, last year.
Correct.
As part of the Dine and Discover events and everything else.
It was a great idea. We don't have any more of the frisbees left, but I think they took pretty well. Because
I'm not asking for a frisbee.
We don't have any more left, so that's a good thing.
No. Did you ever play frisbee golf?
I have not, Ken.
Okay.
I've never played it.
I've never played.
I've wanted to, but I just never find the time to really.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, so I've played golf, traditional golf, but it seems just a little bit more intimidating with the frisbee golf. Because it's not even with regular traditional golf, there's a golf ball, there's a human, and then there's a club. So I can use this tool to get the ball where I would like it to go.
Your arm becomes the
tool. The arm is the tool, and so there's no barrier between. There's nothing to blame it on if it goes awry.
It's all you. It's you and the frisbee.
Yeah, exactly. Erik Larsen, Berrien County Veterans Services office. How long have you been with the office?
Ken, I've been with the office for about almost 2 years in October.
2 years. You liking it?
Love it.
Excellent.
Veteran myself. I'm from Berrien County, graduated from Coloma in 2001.
Okay.
Figured out what I wanted to do. Went into construction, and after 9/11, I said I'm going to go join the military.
Nice.
Did that. Joined the Navy. Wasn't sure what I really wanted to do, and after that, I decided to re-up and ended up staying a retirement career with it, and been all around the world. Got out. When you're joining the military, you have a recruiter who tells you, "Hey, here's where you need to be, what you need to sign, where you need to sit."
Yeah.
But when you get out, you don't have that recruiter or anybody there to tell you how the process works to become a veteran. And somebody just tipped me off, said, "Hey, get a hold of a VSO." Talked to my VSO office in Virginia.
The Veterans Services office.
Veterans Service office, yep. And what they helped me do was they became my recruiter to the VA.
Nice.
Helped me understanding how the VA works, how to enroll in VA healthcare, how to get into the different amenities that are there for veterans.
Yeah. Okay. Let's continue that conversation. I'll ask you to go through your background again here in just a few moments on the radio. And we appreciate you sharing that. I also am curious if you still keep with the carpentry skills.
No.
Do any woodworking?
I dabble in it.
Okay. All right. You and me both.
Professional.
Okay, hang on just a minute. We've got to get some news in. We're talking with Erik Larsen with the Berrien County Veterans Service Office. More on that coming up in just a few moments. Also, we'll talk about the stand down, the big event they have coming up in June, right? June
6th. Yep.
June 6th. So it's right around the corner, right here on the WSJM Morning Show.
.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
It's 7:05. It's the WSJM Morning Show. Good morning. Thanks to those of you who are joined on the video live stream already, and those of you on your radio, and those of you on your video or on your app, because we have it on the app as well. If you've not downloaded the WSJM app yet, we've got a smart app out there, and I highly encourage you to download it because it's refreshed, it's new, it looks great, and we also have our videos on there. Yeah, the WSJM videos from our video live stream. So check it out. All right. Forecast for today does call for mostly cloudy skies, a 30% chance of rain this morning, becoming partly cloudy. A high today, we might eke it up to 58 degrees. It's going to feel a little bit cooler by the lake. And we do expect wind out of the northwest, 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting up to 25. Tonight's forecast becoming mostly clear and cool tonight. A low in the upper 30s or low 40s. Northwest winds 10 to 15 miles per hour and gusting to 25. That'll keep us nice and chilly. Friday's forecast tomorrow, we're looking at a partly cloudy sky. High around 58 and northwest winds 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting to 25. Here's the good news. The good news is if you're a golfer and with all this wind, if the rain stays away, the grass is going to be nice and dry. The wind's going to blow the grass dry, so you can get out there for your Friday, your Saturday, your Sunday, your Monday tee times if you are so inclined. Saturday's forecast, partly cloudy, high around 62. Sunday, we're looking at a barbecue day, partly sunny skies, high around 67 degrees. And then Monday, partly sunny with just a 20% chance of rain and a high around 67 degrees. As we mentioned, the Tigers beat the St. Louis Cardinals yesterday 5-1. The Tigers have traveled back to Detroit. They're home this afternoon. They host the Cleveland Guardians at Comerica Park. The first pitch is set for 6:40 tonight. You can hear it right here on WSJM, your official Detroit Tigers baseball station. For you Cubs fans out there, the Cubs are doing great. Man, they beat the Miami Marlins 2-1. The Cubs have the day off today. They'll play Saturday, taking on the Cincinnati Reds. That game starts at 6:40 p.m. as well. We don't have that one here, but we do have the Detroit Tigers. We have a guest in studio who we'll be talking with in a few moments. Erik Larsen is with the Berrien County Veterans Services office. Good morning, Erik. How are you, sir?
Hey, good morning, Ken. I'm well, thank you.
Good. We'll talk a little bit about what's happening with the Stand Down. That's your event coming up on June 6th. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. We'll also talk about the Berrien County Veterans Service office overall. For those who don't know, presidents well before us said they laid down the law and they said there will be a veteran service office in each and every county in the United States. Each and every county in the United States, right?
And Michigan's got, well, I think 83 or
83 counties. Yep. We jettisoned the 84th, but no, 83 counties, and we've got one in every single county. And most veterans, they may know about it, but they may not know entirely how to use it, how to rely on the resources of the Berrien County Veterans Service Office. So we will talk and explore that coming up this hour. Good.
Yep.
All right. Let's do some news right now from the WSJM newsroom. Benton Township law enforcement is considering reviving its canine program. Police Chief Greg Abrams discussed the idea this week at their township meeting, asking permission to seek a grant to purchase and train a canine unit. The Benton Township Police Department does not currently have a canine unit, but it's had them in the past. And Chief Abrams tells us with I-94 running through the township and plenty of illegal activity happening there, there's a lot of other things a police dog could help them do.
I was a canine handler back in the city many years ago, and my dog found elderly. My dog did school events. My dog went to schools and sniffed lockers. I mean, a canine is a great tool to be utilized in so many ways.
Trustees are a bit skeptical, however. Township Treasurer Debbie Boothby said having a canine unit in a police department creates some liability. She said a previous canine that worked for the township she remembered was always biting people. Trustee Joseph Taylor wondered why Benton Township should have a canine when most other local departments in the county don't. Abrams said he's going to hold a workshop with the board to further explain his proposal.
So it looks like the board has questions about the last two canine handlers that was here, and I'm not sure if they even knew about the policies and procedures that even existed, if they did exist. So I'm putting all that together now just so I can sell this package to them.
Abrams says it looks like he's in for a fight, but he wants to convince trustees having a canine unit will be worth it for the township. The last two canines used by the Benton Township Police Department were not owned by the township. They were owned by their handlers. This one would be township owned, and an officer would be trained to serve as the handler. Abrams was asking to apply for a $10,000 Heart of Cook grant to go toward the purchase and training. The overall cost estimated at $18,000. The board might consider the grant after it gets more information. Memorial Day weekend almost here, and police are reminding people to stay alert and be cautious. Berrien County Sheriff Chuck Hite tells us the most important thing is This Memorial Day, honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country, but he also knows many people take the weekend to spend time with friends and family, and it means the unofficial start of summer. Haidt says that means a lot of travel.
Obviously, it's a very heavily traveled day, so we would ask for drivers to plan ahead, expect some traffic during that holiday, and give extra time. Obviously, obey traffic laws. It's a big time for seatbelts, distracted driving.
And biggest of all, Haidt says, plan ahead if you're going to be drinking. Arrange for a designated driver or have another ride home, because driving drunk or inebriated or maybe high off marijuana, whatever, it's a quick way to wind up in jail. Also, watch out for driving while you're in town.
Staying vigilant, mindful of pedestrians and cyclists. If it's good weather, we could see a lot of pedestrian traffic in different areas. And then obviously that can affect beaches and, for us with our marine deputies, on the water.
Haidt says they'll be making sure boaters are using life jackets and not drinking. He suspects there could be some busy beach days this weekend, so use caution if you venture out into the water. Lake Michigan might be too cold to safely swim right now. Police are statewide are conducting a click it or ticket seatbelt enforcement campaign for Memorial Day weekend. Take note, there will be extra patrols on the roadways throughout Michigan. And the Michigan Department of Natural Resources is inviting the public to learn more about a new draft management plan for Van Buren State Park, with a public meeting set for next month. WSJM's Andrew Green has this report.
The DNR says staff will present an overview of the draft plan, proposed park improvements, and the planning process, and then there will be an opportunity for people to ask questions and provide comments. The DNR uses the general management plans to define a long-term planning and management strategy to protect the resources of a park while serving the recreation and education needs of users. Van Buren State Park is a major attraction near South Haven that offers a mile of Lake Michigan beach, towering dunes, a modern campground, wooded trails, and a day-use area. Visitors can also explore a 4-mile Van Buren State Park spur trail, which leads to the city of South Haven. The DNR hopes fans of the park will come out to the June 3rd meeting at the South Haven Township Hall. It'll run from 6 to 7:30 p.m. They've also launched an online survey about the park, and we have a link to it at our website. Andrew Green, WSJM News.
One more traffic note. Some Michigan lawmakers are working to make it illegal to pass a school bus with flashing yellow lights, or amber. And a transportation official from Berrien County is testifying about the idea. A bill has passed the State House, a State House committee, that is, earlier this week, and it would require drivers to stop at all flashing school bus lights, not just the red lights when they put out the stop sign. In support is Berrien Springs Public Schools Transportation Director John Legas. He testified this week about that legislation.
Currently, slowing down for these amber lights is only a suggestion, and this is dangerous because our babies are standing at the bus stop where people are speeding up. For a school bus driver, this is terrifying to watch. You see, the law for the motorists only refers to the red lights. The law currently placed for motorists was written for a time when school buses were equipped with only the red light system.
Legas said he once saw a vehicle buzzed by a school bus at about 55 miles per hour. It hit a child. Thankfully, that child survived, but police at the time determined the driver did nothing wrong because the bus lights were amber. Currently, drivers can legally pass a bus with flashing amber lights. It's not a good idea, though. That really means slow down. In the WSJM newsroom, I'm Ken Lundberg. We've got a lot more to cover this hour. We're talking with Erik Larsen from the Berrien County Veterans Services office. We'll continue and start that conversation right now on the video live stream. We'll be back in a couple of minutes to talk about it here on the radio as well. We'll talk about the stand down event that they have coming up on June 6th. That's coming up right here on the WSJM Morning Show.
Sports.
All right, back on the video live stream, we're talking with Erik Larsen from the Berrien County Veterans Services office. Once again, good morning.
Good morning, Ken.
There was a little doubt whether or not you'd be able to make it because schedules changed.
Yep.
AC/DC, of all things, threw you a curveball.
They took a little bit of precedence this week.
We're talking about the rock band AC/DC from Down Under.
Yep.
How in the world does this factor in? Tell people who don't know.
Interesting story, Ken. So my wife, her cousin Tracy, thank you, Tracy, got her a ticket to go see her lifelong dream band, which was AC/DC.
Oh my gosh.
As you know, the weather came through Nashville the other night and postponed the concert to today to last night. So,
okay. So they're playing in Nashville?
They played in Nashville last night. She sent me videos of it. Great concert.
Oh my gosh.
So I've been pulling double duties as Mr. Mom and taking care of our 9-year-old daughter, Layla. But yep, I was able to get everything taken care of and make it here this morning.
Your daughter, 9 years old,
Correct.
and her name is Layla.
Yep.
Eric Clapton fan?
You're on it. You knew, Ken.
You've got a music family there. Do you play any musical instruments?
I do not, surprisingly. No. I love music, but I've never was a.
You should take up guitar.
Thinking about it.
No, I say that because at one point in my life, I saw all the kids were playing the video game Guitar Hero. Remember that?
Right.
The Guitar Hero, and
I was
instead
pretty good at that one.
you were good at that. Well, see, and I thought, should I buy that or should I buy a guitar? And I bought a guitar instead.
Smart choice.
Spent all my time spent on that, or spare time, and I love it today. It's so much fun. It's a lot of fun. Very rewarding. Okay, we've got a couple of commercials to go to here. Let's talk about the stand down event briefly, and then we'll have to come back to the radio. But in 60 seconds or less, can you explain to people what is the stand down event?
Sure. So the stand down is a military, it's a veteran stand down, like a resource fair for veterans. We'll have about 50 vendors there to kind of give different resources that are available to veterans and their families in Berrien County.
Okay. Wait, what are the origins of the stand down? Why is it called a stand down?
It was originally created for homeless veterans, and it kind of became a big, it's a yearly event that each county holds, and it's well attended. We're planning for about 200 to 225 veterans this year.
Wow. Okay. And it'll be held where?
It'll be at the Berrien County Conference Center. We originally had it at the Lake Michigan Gardens, but something came up. So now it'll be at 2149 East Napier, Benton Harbor, Michigan, at the Conference Center there.
Okay. So if you know where the Benton Harbor or the Berrien County Health Department is, you know where the Conference Center is.
We'll have flags, signs, a big tent, everything set up there.
Perfect. Okay. That's coming up on June 6th. We'll talk more about that in a few moments right here on the WSJM Morning Show. Right now, back to the radio.
Rain showers for the start of the day, eventually becoming partly cloudy. We're going to have a high of 58. With that wind, we'll see some pretty big waves along the lake shore as well. Tonight, partly cloudy skies becoming clear. We drop down to 40. And tomorrow, a mix of the sun and clouds, high temperatures back up at 58. I'm Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
7:17, it's the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. It's Thursday, May 22nd, and we're right ahead of a Memorial Day weekend. And we're in the studio right now with Erik Larsen. He is with the Berrien County Veterans Services office. Maureen Adams is the director there. She sent Erik in because she's got other things going on today. And so thank you for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Ken.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been talking a little bit on the video live stream about you, about ACDC, about the Veterans Services office. Well, you'll have to go to the video live stream to understand what the rock band thing is about. But first off, for those of our listeners who are on the radio and have not heard yet, give us a brief overview, your origin story. Who is Erik Larsen? Where you been? Where are you going?
Well, thanks, Ken. Erik Larsen from Berrien County. Joined the Navy in 2001. And
where were you raised? You skipped over like 18 years there.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
I was raised grew up in Hagershore, Michigan. I was born in Pensacola, Florida, actually.
Really? Okay. Military?
No.
Okay.
Moved up here when I was about 2 or 3, and went to Coloma High School.
Okay.
Graduated there in 2001. And worked a couple jobs around Berrien County. Didn't know what I really wanted to do. My dad got me into construction.
Yeah.
Day after I graduated, I started working. 9/11 happened, and I made it a decision right then that I was going to go join.
Let's pause there for a second, because I know a lot of people felt very patriotic after that tragedy happened, after that terrorist attack on our country. Where were you on 9/11?
I was pouring concrete in Lafayette, Indiana.
Yeah.
And we were on a break, and somebody had said, "Hey, a plane went into those buildings in New York." I was like, and I kind of was thinking the World Trade Center, and I wasn't sure what he was talking about. But then we heard it on the radio, and then that's when it was kind of like active terrorism, and it was just kind of like my calling to do something else. So I told my boss, "Don't put me on any more jobs. I'm going to go join." And funny story is, I called my dad and told him I was going to join. He goes, "Don't sign anything before I get home," because he was on a different job. And by the time he had gotten home, I'd already signed up and left 2 weeks after I joined.
Wow. So you graduated high school, you were working job in construction, 9/11 happens, and like, nope, I'm out. I got to
Yeah.
help my country.
Yeah.
Thank you. So you decided, how'd you decide on the Navy?
My grandfather was a Navy man himself, and my uncle was a Marine. So I'd heard of many stories about the Navy, and I figured that was going to be my best choice to travel and see the world a little bit and
Yeah.
still serve my country.
Did you get to travel and see the world?
Yes.
Tell us about it.
6 deployments total. I was stationed on a ship in Mayport, Florida, the USS Taylor.
Oh,
It's been
okay.
decommissioned since then.
Okay. Did you ever get on the Kennedy while you were there?
I was never on the Kennedy.
Okay.
No.
I stained a brand new jacket when I was on the Kennedy.
Wow.
I toured it. I did not serve in the military, but I worked for a member of Congress from Jacksonville, Florida, Andrew Crenshaw. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah.
And so I worked for him, and we did our best, because some of the folks in the Navy asked us to try to save the JFK, the aircraft carrier, because it was the last operating conventional aircraft carrier in the Navy's fleet. And so one day we were touring it, and I had a brand new jacket on, and I rubbed up against the wrong thing.
Yeah. There's no clean spots on the ship, really. So.
Anyway, so you were in Mayport, Florida.
Yep,
What a coincidence.
Florida. I was
Okay.
there for 5 years. Finished that, and I went to recruiting duty here in Michigan. I did 3 years of recruiting duty, where I met my wife Jessica. And after we got married, I said, "Well, this is how the Navy works. Where do we go? Where do you want to go next?" So we chose California.
Okay.
Moved out west for 5 years. I was on a cruiser, the USS Princeton. Did 5 years there.
Did you do any surfing while you were out there?
Attempted.
Did you?
Attempted.
Okay.
I'm not built for surfing.
Okay.
So
5 years out there.
5 years out there. Love it. California is a great state to visit, and couldn't live there, but
taxes and stuff like that.
Yep.
Earthquakes.
Let's add to that. Finished there and moved out to Millington, Tennessee as a detailer for the Navy.
What does a detailer do?
Manning. So we man the fleet. So when there's obviously ships all over the world, we find the able-bodied sailors and those personnel to man the ship in those positions.
Okay. Cool.
From there, I went to a spec ward command in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And I spent my last 4 years there.
Wow. All right. So how many years total were you in?
21.
Wow. And you look so young. I'm sorry,
That's
but
good.
You do. That's great.
My mom always said I had a face for radio.
Well, welcome, your brethren. Okay, so then you decided one day you were going to retire from the Navy. You 21 years was enough.
Had it.
Okay, enough of this. What happened? What was your decision train like there?
My daughter was born actually in Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
She had some complications with her birth, so it was kind of like that was kind of my point where I said, all right, I need to start making plans to exit this great gig.
Yeah.
My priorities shifted, and my mission wasn't no longer the military. It was, my family. So I made that my priority, and we made every move to kind of set ourselves up for success to get out, and did what I could. After I got to Virginia, my command was very supportive, and we took care of everything I needed to kind of set ourselves up to moving back to here. We weren't sure where we wanted to move, but somehow you when you're away from, a lot of people don't like Berrien County or Michigan, but when you're away from it for a long time, you kind of realize what we are pretty lucky to live on this coast.
It's a treasure. It's an absolute treasure, and I've never looked back. I came in 2013, and but I had been visiting for a very long time, and I knew this was an area that had a lot of things to offer, and so I'm glad you came back. I'm glad your family's here. Everyone's doing well now?
Oh yeah, we're good.
Have you checked your wife's hearing before and after the AC/DC concert?
We were going to have a doctor's appointment set up for that. So.
One of the things that we're talking with Erik Larsen, he is with the Berrien County Veterans Services office. There are veteran services offices in every county, in every state of the United States, and the Veteran Service Office. What is the mission of the Veteran Services Office?
So our mission, Ken, is to connect veterans with benefits that they've either earned from themselves as veterans or their family members. So a lot of, like, for instance, I had a female veteran, or not veteran, a spouse came in, wasn't aware, she was looking for a headstone for her late husband, and she wasn't aware that she can be entitled to certain benefits herself.
As the spouse of a veteran.
Veteran, yep.
Okay. And so, I mean, it's uncovering benefits That's how I think of the Berrien County Veterans Services Office. Is you're the liaison between the veteran and the Veterans Administration. The VA isn't always the easiest organization to navigate. I think it's safe to say that.
That is a true statement.
Okay, and so you're the liaison to help veterans understand what benefits they're qualified for and how to get through that octopus of a system. No offense to octopi of VA, and so you're stationed here to do that. And it's not an official military designation.
Correct.
Okay.
Nope. We are county employees. A lot of veterans think that they come in and we're the VA. We are not VA affiliated. We work alongside the VA.
Yep.
And we always say the VA is like a three-wheeled cart. There's the benefits administration, the healthcare administration, and the cemeteries administration. We work alongside the benefits administration.
Okay, very good. We're talking with Erik Larsen, Berrien County Veterans Service Office. We'll get more in just a moment. Before we go to, we have to get to a couple messages in our Bloomberg Financial Minute. But before we do that, you have a big event coming up in June that is designed specifically for veterans, both as a way to get resources, but a way to show community as well with veterans. It's the Stand Down. Give the overview of what the Stand Down event is.
So yeah, this Stand Down, last year was my very first one as being a veteran. And let me tell you, there was about 186 veterans last year that showed up. And I was kind of amazed at the amount of people that come out and share the camaraderie. They offer haircuts. They give military surplus. We'll have a large abundance of surplus there. And veterans love when free stuff. So healthcare enrollment, the VA will be there to help veterans enroll in VA healthcare, do benefits checkups, all that kind of stuff.
When's it coming up and where is it going to be?
It'll be June 6th. It'll be at the conference center at 2149 East Napier in Benton Harbor, right off their 94 exit, right there. It's the old Honda dealership.
Oh, okay.
Right off there near the Shell gas station.
Yeah. So if you know where the Berrien County Health Department is, that's where it is. It's the conference center right next to it. And so you'll have flags up. There'll be a bunch of cars there because it's going to be a popular event.
Yep. Right. If you've gone past LMC, you've gone too far.
Yeah, exactly. Registration, is it required?
Not required, recommended. We do ask that you please bring a DD-214, your military ID if you have one, or a VA health card, just to verify your veteran status.
Yeah, no veteran will be turned away, but if you have the DD-214, it makes it a lot easier, right?
That's true.
Okay. All right. 7:28. It's the WSJM Morning Show. We're continuing our conversation with the Berrien County Veterans Service Office. Erik Larsen is here. We'll have more in just a moment. We're going to continue our conversation right now on the video live stream, but we also have a couple of messages here on the radio and our Bloomberg Financial Minute. Okay, I'm serious about the hearing test for your wife.
Yeah,
because I go to concerts from time to time, and the one I really remember is Lindsey Buckingham, and Lindsey Buckingham loves to play it loud, really, really loud. And so from then on, I made the mistake of not having earplugs that time. Every concert, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's going to be flute, jazz flute, or something like that. I use earplugs.
It's very true statement.
Come on up to the microphone, though. Sorry about that. You like music? You go to concerts?
We do. We've actually got tickets, my wife and I, to the Zach Bryan concerts, the very first concert in Michigan Stadium.
Wow.
It'll be the very first concert there.
Say hi to my son. He's going to be there.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, University of Michigan. So he already got his tickets at the student discount. He's probably got the nosebleed seats.
Hey, if it's free, it's still better than
They weren't quite free, but I think that'll be a great concert.
Yeah, we're pretty excited.
What a rocking crowd!
End of September.
Yeah, no, that's going to be good. Okay, and so. Describe the VA. Is it tedious? What's the magic of getting through with the VA?
So it's really not as complicated as it seems. It's a lot of veterans.
If you know how it works.
If you know how it works.
Yeah.
And that's where we are there to kind of we study this stuff. We go to trainings. A lot of veterans think, oh, it's too complicated. I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
So that's where we're like more of a word of mouth. I wish when they were getting out, they would have told us veterans more, as active duty, you go through a TAPS class, which tells you how to be a civilian kind of, but they don't have a how to get out of the military, demilitarize yourself. They do have a TAPS class.
Oh, okay.
That's what that one is. I forget what the acronym means, but it's a processing service that they have.
Okay.
But they don't really mention your VSO. I wish it was something that they could kind of help get us, get veterans more in tune with their benefit or what is out there available to them.
TAPS, Transition Assistance Program.
Yep.
I don't know what the S is. The second S is for, though, or the last S.
It might just be TAP class.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
No, it's TAPS, but it does refer to Transition Assistance Program.
So each branch has their own kind of version of it.
It's like they're playing taps because it's the end of the day.
It's the end of the day, right? But yeah, so it kind of helps us get. We're there to kind of help guide the veteran into the benefit.
Yeah.
We know how the forms work, what the VA needs to see to actually establish a benefit for the veteran.
Okay. And you have offices. The Berrien County Veterans Services office is not just in St. Joseph. You also have an office in Niles.
Yep.
Where is that?
It's right at let me see.
Courthouse?
It's at the courthouse.
Okay.
It's across from the health department.
Okay.
Now there's 2 veteran parking spots down there. Ryan McNeely is the VSO down there, the veteran service officer. He's got different hours, so
Okay.
I'd call ahead to make an appointment.
Okay. Next time you can send him in here.
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
Are you a morning person?
I am actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. What time do you usually get up?
5:30.
Nice.
Yep.
That's good. I've only been up for 2.5 hours by then.
Yep. I usually, by the time I got here, I usually that's when I work out in the morning. So then get done with that and then get my shower in and get to work at about 8:30.
Excellent. Let's see. I've got Teresa and Bill. For some reason, my comments are disappearing on the video live stream because I just saw one was there from Bill, and then all of a sudden his disappeared and Teresa's appeared. So there may be other comments there. So I apologize. I think our live stream provider is trying something beta. Let me see. What if I hit this button? What does that do? I think that'll put comments up on the screen. Say something nice. Don't put something silly up there if you want to put something on the screen. Anyway, because we'll have to turn it off then because the boss won't like that. We've got our Bloomberg report. That's coming up in just a couple of minutes right here on the radio. We'll tune over for that. If you were following some of the news this morning, there's been a lot of talk ever since President Donald Trump was inaugurated about the quote-unquote big, beautiful bill, which has spending reductions in it as well as tax cuts. That just passed the U.S. House of Representatives. They were hoping to get it done by Memorial Day, the weekend before that, and they just did this morning. But they had to pull some serious overhaul, overnight sessions to do it. So they did that. All right, it is 7:33. We've got more on the WSJM Morning Show. Back in just a moment with the check of weather.
Unable to provide new valid work authorization at the end of the leave period will be fired, according to an internal communication viewed by Bloomberg. Job cuts are coming to Walmart's technology team. Sources tell Bloomberg that fewer than 1,500 employees are affected and that other new positions are being created. A Walmart spokeswoman said the changes reflect the company's growth strategies and are not related to tariffs. Stock futures were mixed this morning after the market tumbled yesterday. The sell-off was sparked by deficit concerns and retail earnings. The Dow fell more than 800 points. The S&P 500 slid almost 100, and the NASDAQ was down 270. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
7:34, it's the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. Here with me as my guest this morning, Erik Larsen with the Berrien County Veterans Service Office. And he is in that office with Maureen Adams, and then you have Ryan McNeely, right? So all three of you are here in Berrien County to help veterans basically connect with their benefits. That's your job all day, all night.
And we love our job.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's fantastic. So we'll talk a little bit more about how veterans can get in touch with the Berrien County Veterans Service Office. You also have some great communications channels that you do outside of what you do on WSJM. So we'll talk about that vibe and the sort. So we'll get that information in just a couple of moments. First off, taking a look outside, we've got rainy conditions, light rain off and on this morning, some cloudy skies, 48 degrees in St. Joseph, 48 degrees in Benton Harbor. Let's see what the feels like is. Feels like 36 degrees in St. Joseph, by the way. In South Haven, it's 47 degrees. Dowagiac, it's 47. And at the South Bend International Airport, cloudy, some rainfall, and 47 degrees as well. The forecast for today, this rain should be tapering off sometime this morning, giving us partly cloudy skies this afternoon. The high is going to be around 58 degrees and some winds out of the northwest, 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting up to 25. That's what's going to keep us cool. Tonight's forecast becoming mostly clear, cool, low of around 40 degrees. We'll probably get to the upper 30s around St. Joseph area. Northwest winds 10 to 15 miles per hour and gusting to 25. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Let's give you the whole Memorial Day weekend forecast. Partly cloudy skies to start off on Friday with a high of 58. Wind gusting up to 25 miles per hour out of the northwest. Saturday and Sunday, partly cloudy to partly sunny skies. The high on Saturday, 62, high on Sunday of 67. So if we keep that, that will be decent, still barbecue-worthy weather. And then Monday's forecast, partly sunny with a 20% chance of rain and a high around 67. We've got more to talk about. We've got the latest world and national news right now from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston.
On this vote, the yeas are 215, the nays are 214, with one answering present. The bill is passed.
And with that, the budget bill that President Trump had pushed Republicans to pass did pass by just one vote. The GOP says it will revive the U.S. economy. Democrats say it will kick millions off Medicaid and food stamps. The bill now moves on to the Senate. The man in custody for allegedly shooting and killing two Israeli embassy staffers outside the Capitol Jewish Museum had chanted support for Palestine as he was taken into custody.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying this was a brazen act of cowardly anti-Semitic violence. Israel's ambassador calling it, quote, a depraved act of anti-Semitic terrorism, saying the young embassy staffers killed were a couple who were planning to get married.
That's ABC's Nicole D'Antonio. Dow futures are mixed this morning after another sell-off on Wall Street Wednesday. This is ABC News.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
7:37 WSJM Morning Show continues. I'm Ken Lundberg. Some of the news that we'll have at 8 o'clock this morning, taking money from the infrastructure fund to pay overdue bills is one way to avoid state intervention. That's the way the Benton Harbor City Commission, at least one of them, sees it. Yesterday, the City of Benton Harbor's Finance Committee held a meeting and discussed a proposed emergency transfer of another $800,000 so that Benton Harbor can pay its outstanding bills. We'll tell you more about that story. That's coming up at 8 o'clock this morning. Also, the Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber has been awarded its largest grant ever, $250,000 from the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and it's to develop more of the Chamber and Growth Alliance bodies. Yeah, we'll talk about that model coming up at 8 o'clock. Also in the news this morning, Benton Harbor City Commissioners back over there are being asked to consider consolidating their polling locations to save money at election time. That proposal, still in draft form, not really going over very well. We'll talk about that and some of the reaction. That's coming up at 8 o'clock this morning, right here on the WSJM Morning Show. It's Thursday, May 22nd. Thursday, in case you didn't know, is one of the best days of the week because we've got a lot of the heavy lifting done, and we've got a 3-day weekend coming up. All right, we've got sports also on the video live stream. By the way, Teresa just said she fired the weather for the weekend. Yeah.
I second that, Teresa.
Yeah, we all second that. We want more sunshine, a little bit warmer here. That'd be nice. Okay, 7:38 WSJM Morning Show. We've got the latest news from around the state and then some sports.
The Michigan News Network.
I'm Beth Fisher. This is the beginning of the Memorial Day travel with the busiest.
Okay, back on the video live stream. You doing anything special for Memorial Day weekend?
Myself, Ken, we're going to go over to my parents' house, and they just opened up the pool, and we're kind of getting things.
Nice.
Try to do a little bit of barbecuing ourselves. So
fantastic. Are you the chef on the grill?
I love to smoke. Smoke the meat, or cream cheese. If you ever had smoked cream cheese,
I don't think I ever have had smoked cream cheese.
Next level, Ken.
Details, please. What is
yeah? It's something I kind of just dabbled with a little bit. You just take a couple of blocks of cream cheese, you cut some slots in it, and then cover it with like a barbecue seasoning.
Yeah.
And smoke it for about 2 hours. And what's really good is you put a little bit of like a blueberry jelly over it.
Yeah.
With a Ritz cracker.
Oh my goodness.
it makes it, and it's so easy. It's pretty easy to do.
What medium are you using to smoke it? Are you using what kind of wood chips?
I usually use apple wood or like a fruit flavor, fruit scented tree. But then I just use an old Weber Smoky Mountain, old school style, and do it for about 2 hours. Get it up to 250, and
okay, so that's cream cheese.
Yep.
Let's talk about the meat. What kind of meats do you smoke?
Done briskets, although that takes a little longer. You got to book 18 to 20 hours for a good brisket.
Okay, so let's pause there. So when because I've had this experience, I'm not a meat eater anymore, but I used to be, and I love the smoking stuff. I mean, that's fantastic. I remember many a night, middle of the night, I'm up there, I'm just sitting there, falling asleep in the chair, making sure everything is good. So how do you do yours when you have to do an 18-hour smoke?
I usually get up pretty early, right around 2 or 3 in the morning sometimes, and just get it started. Get the, because it takes a while to get the old school. It's not a pellet smoker, so it takes a little bit more finesse.
Yeah.
Get it up, and then once we get it on, I let it be, let the smoke do its job, and make sure it's tended, and
so when
low and slow.
When you have the brisket there, have you pre-seasoned the brisket as well?
I just do salt, pepper, a little bit mustard for a binder.
Yeah.
And then do either mustard, or I've used honey.
Oh yeah.
Syrup.
Wow.
But I learned how to smoke actually on a deployment.
Did you?
Yep.
How? Where?
We were in Honduras, and of all places, we were in South America, and
the Hondurans had to teach you how to smoke meat.
No, it was one of my ops officers.
Oh,
so
okay.
He's like, you don't smoke meat? And I said, no. So he was. I said, you're gonna be the guy that teaches me. So
yeah. I mean, okay. So where do you find a smoker when you're in Honduras on deployment?
So a lot of guys brought there. So yeah. I could go into detail about.
Is it on the ship?
No, it's not on a ship.
Well,
This is when I was with a spec war team.
Oh, okay, all right.
So
I don't know what a spec war team is.
So I was attached to SEAL Team 10.
Okay.
I was an ops chief for the SEAL team.
Gee whiz.
I was not a SEAL myself.
Okay.
I was a operations chief for more logistics and stuff like that. When they went on do their stuff, we could battle tracked and stuff like that.
Wow.
So one of those guys is the one that taught me how to smoke meat. So
man, and they bring their own smokers on deployment. That's cool.
Yep. They get treated pretty well.
Got my bag, my gear bag, got my gear, got my smoker.
Yep.
That's all I need.
Yeah, it was and we were in Honduras. We went to a place called Finca 8, I believe it was called. And I mean, they had briskets that were probably about 20-pound brisket you can get, and they were relatively cheap. You get that for about $60.
Wow.
And it was the first thing I ever smoked. First meat, and it was delicious. So.
Yeah. What's the sign of a done piece of smoked meat?
Good bark. You gotta have a good bark, and when you stick a toothpick in it, it's like sticking it into peanut butter. That's what I've always learned is it's like sticking a toothpick into peanut butter.
What are some common mistakes to avoid if you're a first-time smoker?
Checking it too often.
Oh, really? Why?
Yep. You're letting that heat out. You're letting the smoke out. You're letting and it kind of just let the temperature stick at 250 and let it go for as long as possible.
We've got a whole nother show here. We're going to talk smoking meat with the vegetarian and the military guy. Here we go. All right, 7:43. It's the WSJM morning show. No, thank you for sharing that. That's interesting. What was the most difficult thing to smoke?
Brisket.
Brisket?
Oh, it's
okay.
Yeah.
Just because it's so huge, so dense.
Yes, it's a dense piece of meat, and it's it takes such a long time. Some people don't have that patience.
Yeah.
And there's just, if you get it wrong, that's a $80 piece of meat that you just ruined.
Yeah.
It can dry out pretty quick.
Oh man, that'd be a nightmare. So when you were supporting the SEAL team, did you ever get out to Hawaii to one of their training areas there?
Nope, we never went to Hawaii.
Okay, that's a fun place.
I've been to Hawaii, but just not with them. We're on a deployment with a ship, and we pulled in there.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. All right. 7:44. It's the WSJM Morning Show. We're talking with Erik Larsen. He is at the Berrien County Veterans Services office. He's been there for better part of a couple of years now.
Going on 2 years. Ken.
How did you get involved with them?
So when I got out of the Navy, I was at the county administration building registering my DD-214 with the county clerks, and turned around and I saw the office at Veterans Services, and I said, I think I'm a veteran now. So I walked in, I met with Maureen. I said, hey, I'm fresh out. Looking to see what kind of services. And I'd already done my VA claim through Virginia before I had gotten fully out. So she says, well, you've already got that started and we're not hiring right now, but she gave me a business card. I was out for about 7 months looking for what I really wanted to do with my life when I grew up.
Yeah.
And I saw on Indeed the job was posted.
Wow.
And I called her up and she said, yeah, I'm going to close out the position tomorrow. So you get me your resume. I gave her my resume and she called me up, said, hey, I'd like to do an interview on like, I forget what day it was. And I said, well, I'm actually going to the Michigan-Minnesota game in Minnesota. and I thought, well, here's my career opportunity chance, you know, and I'm thinking, well, I'm going to make things move. So I said, I'll be there. So we went to the interview. We interviewed for about 2 hours and I was at the game and I got the phone call from Maureen saying, hey, we'd like to accept your offer at the position. So I was really glad to get this position and look to do good things with it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Teresa on our video live stream says, thank you for your service, Erik. We appreciate it. And thank you for your service. So we appreciate that. And I can only imagine you were at the Michigan Minnesota game. You were probably standing like going, yeah. And there was, because you got the job,
right?
Not because somebody scored a touchdown.
It was a little bit of both. It was a year. Yeah. Michigan won the championship that year too.
Oh,
so,
man.
And I was just kind of, I remember sitting there and I'm like looking at my phone. I'm thinking, oh, it's a St. Joe number or something like that. And I thought, oh, I better answer this. And, you know, she's telling me and I'm thinking I'm screwed. You know, the crowds are cheering and I'm trying to like maintain, you know, composure here, but
she probably thought you were going to be at a game every weekend.
No.
Something like that. Okay. 7:46. We've got to get back to the show. It's the WSJM Morning Show.
Breezy and cool today. We're going to continue with rain showers for the start of the day, eventually becoming partly cloudy. We're going to have a high of 58. With that wind, we'll see some pretty big waves along the lakeshore as well. Tonight, partly cloudy skies becoming clear. We drop down to 40. And tomorrow, a mix of the sun and clouds, high temperatures back up at 58. I'm Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
7:46. It's the WSJM Morning Show. Check that. 7:47 now. On your Thursday, May 22nd day of May, it's time for your Moody on the Market update. It's brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owner's insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. This hour, we've been talking with Erik Larsen from the Berrien County Veterans Services office. How are we doing so far?
I think we're doing pretty good.
You doing all right? You get any feedback? Is any of your friends watching or listening?
I haven't signed any autographs yet. So, you know, I'm waiting to see if there's a line outside.
After the show. After the show is when that happens. No, but thank you for your service, because you are a military veteran, and thank you for what you continue to do, connecting veterans of our area, our region, with the services that they're entitled to through the Veterans Administration. So we appreciate that. And in fact, you're going to be marching as part of our Moody on the Market update. We talk with interesting people, life in Southwest Michigan and why we love it here, and business updates. I think we fill most of those buckets pretty well by having you on as a guest. So thank you again. And talk a little bit about you're going to be in a parade tomorrow, honoring those we've lost in prior conflicts.
That's true, Ken. Tomorrow we'll be at the St. Joe Memorial Day Parade.
Yeah.
I will be. We got one of the car clubs is offering one of their cars, and I'll be on the back of that.
Oh, cool. Do you know which one?
It's
what
an
car?
83 Buick Riviera.
Oh, nice.
Told, so
okay.
What shows up, I don't know.
Very nice.
But I'll be there.
Okay.
12 to 12:30 is a short parade. But,
okay.
You have to honor those that paid the ultimate sacrifice.
Very nice. Well, thank you. We appreciate that. And you've got the big event, the Stand Down, which is coming up on June 6th. That will be at the Berrien County Conference Center, right next to the health department.
Yep.
Right. And so that's coming up on June 6th. We've been talking about that this hour. Well, we'll mention it again in a moment, but you also have other events where veterans can turn out and get more information, or those who might know a veteran, they can get more information as well. You want to run through some of those events?
Sure. So actually, I'll do a quick plug here too. We just Maureen created a newsletter, our very first newsletter.
That's right. The communications channels. Good one.
So we've actually got a newsletter that goes out. We're going to put that out once a year. It kind of has a calendar of events that we do every year. And then we have the Vibe channel that stands for Veterans in Berrien Engage.
Yeah.
It's a mass communication channel that helps veterans stay in it lets us send out kind of like when the schools are cancel school,
yep.
You get that text message. It'll be a text message saying, hey, there's a Dine and Discover in Berrien County at this Legion or location.
Yep.
We will also be at the Benton Harbor Farmers Market.
Okay.
That's starting up here this summer. First time we're going to be guests at that.
Very
We'll
nice.
have a tent set up there with information and stuff like that.
Yeah, those are Wednesdays.
Wednesdays.
Yep.
And we've been invited to the St. Joe one on the weekends, but we're kind of seeing what kind of scheduling we can fit for that. So,
Okay. All right. Very good. So there are a lot, what you're saying, what I'm hearing is there are a lot of different ways to stay in touch with the veteran community here in Southwest Michigan.
That's correct. Well, you can walk into our office anytime, 8:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. Obviously not this Monday, but holidays excluded.
Yep. How do people sign up for the Vibe?
So there's
channel?
you can either call the office, you can come in. We have a QR code on a lot of our flyers that we put out.
Okay.
You just sign up for that. You just give your if you want to email, you can get an email, or you give your cell phone number, and it'll send you a text.
Is it on the Facebook page as well?
I believe so.
Okay. Okay. So check the Facebook page because you have a very active Facebook page, Veterans, the Berrien County Veterans Services office. And so there are a lot of different ways to get in touch with that office, but also a lot of ways to stay in touch with what's happening in the veterans community. That's part of our Moody on the Market update for today. It's brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today. They are your local auto owners insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. It's 7:51. That is our Moody on the Market update. We've got a couple of messages to get to, and then we'll close out this interview. It is the WSJM Morning Show.
Rich Brand and Tarek Halsey.
Okay, back on the video live stream. So Eric, in addition to smoking meat, what else do you do for fun when you're not helping veterans in the area?
Right now we're just doing a lot of housework. We bought a house in Waterville.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good purchase?
Yes, good purchase. It had good bones of the house. We're redoing a septic system and a well.
Oh, that's always fun.
It's always a home ownership.
Yeah, that's what I like to do in my spare time, redo septic systems.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
Luckily, my wife's got a good family that's kind of helping us with that.
Okay, good. Some of them, does one of them have a backhoe?
Yep.
Okay,
and they know
good.
how to use it.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's a good thing. A surprise thing that happened with it, but we're rolling with it, and it's an investment. It's an investment. That's the way we look at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Spend time with the family. Love going to parks and stuff like that. Movies with the kid.
Yeah.
Spending time with my daughter. Now that I've been out, she just started learning how to ride a bicycle. So it's
cool.
Big milestone in life. So.
Did you give her the push and then see her
it was
go?
Actually, she's gonna be tall. I'm tall myself, so we've seen that she could almost touch the ground already, and she's just started coasting and learning how to do it. And
that's awesome. Banana seat?
Nope, she's got just a old school style.
We were talking earlier I think it was this week, we were talking about our first bicycles, and my first bicycle, my brother's as well, big old banana seat.
I remember those.
Yeah.
Yep.
They were
remember
fun.
those.
They
I
were
had
fun.
it was a brown Schwinn. I think my sister had one. It was like, you didn't want to be seen on it, but it was actually a really comfortable seat.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. Berrien County Veterans Services office. Erik Larsen is here. You've got the offices at the Berrien County Administration Building, the admin building here in St. Joseph. You also have offices in the courthouse in Niles, and there's parking available there. And there's parking available at the admin center. So
we don't have paid parking.
No paid parking inside the admin center. Has that been a point of contention there? Don't answer that. You don't have to answer that. I don't want to get you in a controversial situation. Let's see. Diane says, good morning. Eric, Diane says, thank you for your service as well. Teresa says, good morning to Diane and others. Have a great day, everyone, and have a great weekend. Everyone on the video live stream, thank you so much for joining us. We will not have the show on Monday on the radio program because we'll be taking the holiday, but I will put up a couple of what I call the best of video streams, both from 7 to 8 o'clock and then from 8 to 9 o'clock. So if you want to catch a little bit more about the parking situation, we're going to replay those videos. If you don't have time for that, they're always available to you. You can just go back on the video archive of either Facebook or YouTube and check it out, and we have it up there. Okay, we've got more to talk about with Eric, and we'll wrap up our interview here in just a moment. Anything else that you wanted to mention today? Anything else?
No, looking forward to seeing everybody. This is going to be a good event on June 6th, 10 to 2.
The stand down.
The stand down.
Okay. And you don't need to register, but pre-registration is requested so they can get a handle on how many people they're going to need to feed for that, because it's free lunch, right?
It is free lunch. We'll have a lunch provided. So
okay, so this is for veterans and their families.
Correct.
Any other families that you want, and I think we should probably talk about the DD 214 for just a moment. for those who don't know, what is the DD-214 and why is it so important?
Your DD-214 is your discharge document. So it's I mean, it says it on there, protect this document, with everything, with your life, basically. It is your ticket to anything with benefits for the VA. It's your ticket to the dance.
Okay.
So without it, obviously, if you don't have it, there are ways that we can go about helping you request one through the National Archives. Or if you register it with a county, that's what I did. The county has a certified copy for you if you were to lose your original copy.
Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about the DD-214 in just a moment, but we have got to get back to the radio. It's the WSJM Morning Show. Back to conclude this interview with Erik Larsen of the Berrien County Veterans Services Office in just a moment.
Pre-authorized dealer. From the Pat Moody Studios, this is WSJM FM Benton Harbor, St. Joseph, a product of Midwest Family Marketing and Media. Proudly serving our community. The Morning Show with Ken Lundberg on WSJM.
7:55 on your Thursday, May 22nd. Good morning. I'm Ken Lundberg. Thank you for joining us. We've got about 4 minutes before we get the latest world and national news from ABC, and then it's another hour of the WSJM Morning Show. So we'll be talking about news and views and weather and sports and a whole lot of other things. In fact, just checking the sports real quick, we do have another Tigers game this afternoon or this evening. The Detroit Tigers beat the St. Louis Cardinals yesterday 5-1. The Tigers will be back in Detroit this afternoon. They host the Cleveland Guardians at Comerica Park. The first pitch is set for 6:40 p.m. You can hear that game from the first pitch all the way through to the end of the innings at right here on WSJM. We are your official Detroit Tigers Major League Baseball radio station. You can hear it here on WSJM. Also, you can't hear them here, the Cubs, but they did play yesterday, and they did well again. They're at the top of their division, by the way. But the Cubs beat the Miami Marlins 2-1. The Cubs have the day off today. They will play again Saturday, taking on the Cincinnati Reds. That game starts at 6:40 Eastern. Did I have that right? I'll have to double check that. But anyway, they beat the Marlins yesterday 2-1. Cubs in fuego, meaning on fire. Yeah. 7:57. It's the WSJM Morning Show. We're talking with Erik Larsen. He's from the Berrien County Veterans Services Office. And Erik, thank you for sharing all that you've shared this hour. We appreciate it. And thank you for entertaining our silly questions. We've had a lot of fun. I mean, the silly questions about the AC/DC stuff. And again, if you missed the video live stream, you're missing a lot. So you don't know what that reference means. But there's a rock group called AC/DC from Australia. Little known group, right? Are you a big fan of AC/DC yourself?
I honestly, Ken, no, I'm not.
No, you're not.
And you're not. That's not.
But your
why
wife is.
Yeah, she is a huge. That's
why
her
she's
favorite band of all time.
And that's why she went to go see them in concert.
Yep, and I didn't go with.
Did you have a choice?
No, I did. She really wanted me to go with, and she wanted that experience. But
yeah,
life happens, and we kind of adjusted to it. And I wanted to make sure she was.
But you
could go to it.
But you're excited about Zach Bryan because you're going to go see him.
Yep, we'll see Zach Bryan, and that'll be a good concert. And
at the big house.
At the big house.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Last year was when I went to we went to a Michigan game last year, and it was my first time there. So.
Wow.
Yep.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for all that you do for the Berrien County Veterans Services Office. With the last few seconds that we have, anything else you want to plug? If a veteran is just tuning in right now, what do you need them to know?
Come on into our office. If you're not sure if you have a benefit out there or you're qualified for anything, answer's always no unless you ask.
Yeah.
So come in. You don't need your DD-214 to just come in and sit down and talk. We would love to direct you in the right way. We have more than just, if there's we might not have the benefit you want or need, but we can direct you to where you need to go to find it.
And even if you've had an experience already with the VA where they said no, if you still think, you want to ask somebody else to see if you have a chance for something, talk to the Berrien County Veterans Services Office. They don't work for the VA, but they work with the VA, and they understand how to get to a yes many times when you might have been given a no.
We advocate for the veteran. The VA.
Yep.
So if the VA gets it wrong, we kind of help correct it and say, no, this is where your manual says that this is what they needed, and they met that.
Well, thank you for doing that. We appreciate it. I know veterans appreciate it as well, and people who need to get in touch with you. You're at the Berrien County Administration Building. They can check you out on Facebook. You've got the Vibe channel, Veterans in Berrien Engage, and a whole lot of other ways. Thank you for everything that you've given us this morning, Erik.
Thanks for having me, Ken.
All right, we've got 7:59, so we're just a minute before 8 o'clock when we'll have more news from ABC. We've got the weather forecast for today looking at cloudy skies this morning, chance of rain tapering off and then becoming partly cloudy for this afternoon. A high today around 58 degrees and northwest winds 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusting up to 25. More on the forecast coming up after ABC News.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The voice vote taken before the tally that eventually